Okay, we're back on the Tyre Nichols case here again. We had five officers that were at the scene of the beating, the second scene, not the first one. They were at the scene of the second beating where Tyre Nichols was killed. There's been some people out there saying that, well, he might have been on drugs or something. Give me a break. They beat the ever loving hell out of that boy. So they killed him. And the problem is that not all five, as far as I can tell, were actively assaulting him. What I mean by assault is delivering blows that could be fatal. Now, a few did. We saw some kicks to the head. We saw some baton strikes that might have been fatal. I don't know, depending on where they hit him. But it doesn't look to me like all five were involved in delivering what could potentially be fatal blows to Tyre Nichols. So, what about the ones that didn't? Could they be in serious trouble? Well, maybe, maybe not. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
All right, so here we have Tennessee Code 388129, and let's read it. And I want you to pay attention to what is not in the statute. You'll see what I mean in a moment. Okay, it says a law enforcement officer who directly observes or has knowledge of excessive use of force by another law enforcement officer in violation of state or federal law, and some of those strikes were illegal. Within the officer's scope of training, knowledge, and authority, he has to know that those are illegal, and I don't think there's any issue there. Intervene when the officer has an opportunity and means to prevent the harm from occurring. That lets old Preston Hemphill off the hook. Well, he wasn't even there at the scene. He didn't directly observe it. He didn't have any knowledge of it. And he couldn't have intervened. He wasn't there. But they're going to try to pin this charge on him anyway. It says, a law enforcement officer who intervenes during an excessive force incident shall report the circumstances to a supervisor as soon as practical. Okay. As for B and C, B requires that they report it to a supervisor, and C has to do with retaliation, and they're not really relevant here. Okay, so let's scroll on down. That's pretty much it. And I have gone through and combed through the statutes looking for the missing information, and I have not been able to find it. If it's there, it's really well buried. So does anybody know what it is? Well, I'll give you a hint. Let's go over look at another statute. So I just picked one kind of at random. This is one against assault here. And it defines assault. And it says intentionally or knowingly causes physical contact, blah, blah, blah. Does anybody see what's in this statute that's not in the other one? Assault is a Class A misdemeanor. And it goes on to describe what the punishment is for actually violating this statute. Let's go back. Let's scroll down. It's not there. I have looked everywhere for it. It's not there. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I could be misinterpreting this. If I'm right, that means that even though there is a statute in the law that says that an officer has to intervene, it's not a crime not to do so. I mean, there's nothing here stipulated whether it's a misdemeanor or a felony. Now, you may think, well, wait a minute, there has to be a crime. Well, not really. I mean, you could have a statute that says that a person has to be 18 years of age or older to go to an R-rated movie, and it's not a crime to do so. It's just that you can't do it. So what I think of happening here is, if you look at here, it was added on 2021 after the George Floyd incident. I have a feeling that the legislature put this in there as a means of allowing a police agency to fire a cop who fails to intervene. But it does not stipulate that it's a crime to do so. Why? Well, maybe the legislature didn't have the political will to enforce something like that, make that a crime. The other one is, and I should look this up, but Tennessee might not require that people report crimes. There's some states that don't. In fact, I think most states probably don't require that you report a crime if you see one. There are some states that do. So it may be that they just simply pass this legislation. Now, if an officer doesn't intervene, they can be fired because they did break the law, but I don't think they can be charged for a crime. So this is going to get very interesting. If I'm right, then there might be some officers here who it may be hard to charge them with a crime. Now, you could say, well, they participated in the assaults in some way. They held him so that the others could assault him. That's possible. And so I'm only talking about this intervention dealio. So tell me what you think. Like my video, subscribe to my channel.